Coming soon, only on Sega Dreamcast.
What's up everyone, my name's Al from Games Europe, and today we're going to be discussing Isotope Softworks titles, Slave and Hypertension. These two hotly anticipated titles were now actually announced quite some time. We're talking years and years and years ago. Now the reason we're discussing this today is because I actually was contacted off one of the videos from one of the developers who worked on Hypertension and kind of was a dev in that team. Now obviously we know Corey was the one who was kind of helming that team, the Isotope Softworks group, the dev group. So we've got a bit of an inside knowledge here. Now obviously the developer doesn't want to be known by name, but he has given me some info for you guys to hear a little bit more, bit of a deep dive into what happened with Slave, what happened with Hypertension. Let's take a deep dive into what happened. So the first thing asked is, what was the involvement of this developer within the team, working with Hypertension and Slave? And he responded, I work primarily on Hyper, but was sometimes asked to test builds of Slave. I have played Slave. Okay, so that asked me to go on and say, or ask, how far along were they both? As far as Slave is concerned, several levels were done, but it was buggy. So we obviously now know that it was never really to a point of completion, but it was in the early to mid stages of completion. What issues came up that halted development? I'd say the biggest reason development on Hyper has never gone anywhere is due to mismanagement and feature creep. C is a talented coder and designer, but I personally feel she lacked the skills necessary to lead a team. Okay, so that's interesting. It's not a perspective we've heard before. What was the main premises of Hypertension? What inspired it? It was about a young woman named Fiona who watches her lover commit suicide after they've had an altercation. Her father was the mayor of the town. There were demonic mental health and addiction influences. I think the game was heavily inspired by Deus Ex, or at least that was the intention. Now, see, we know it was kind of built around Blood Engine and different things like that, so you know, I could kind of see a lot of inspiration from there, but Deus Ex is an interesting one. I did not know that to this day. Did the entire game have co-op mechanic to it? And the only reason I ask this is because it seemed to pop up in one of the trailers. So, did it? Co-op, to the best of my knowledge, was never discussed in my time there. When I was there, the game was far from done. My best estimate was about 30 to 40% done. Some levels were made. Problem is, features kept being added, the scope kept changing. Corey couldn't keep herself to one path. So obviously this kind of plays a bit of an issue in quite a lot of development stories. With different games, you name it, it's not just Dreamcast, I'm talking pretty much any game that's being developed. This does actually, it's quite a common thing. The concept was great and the game could have easily ridden the boomer shooters waves, scratching the Dusk itch. So obviously if you know games like Dusk, you know exactly the style they were going for, and that was actually what they're aiming for. Now, yes, this is a short interview, you know, I just wanted to kind of get the early facts here and just kind of wanted to know the progress on them. and maybe what the troubles they had along the way for Slave and Hypertension. Like I said, it clearly seems to be that Hypertension was... They got to a point where basically there was a lot of different things they were trying to add. I guess time constraints, all that sort of stuff. So will we see it continue someday? I'll have to try and reach out to Corey and have her perspective on this. I'd like to know. So Corey, if you're out there listening, give me a shout on Twitter, GamesReUp, gamesreup@gmail.com if you also want to email. But let me know. Now, as you can see, a really interesting deep dive, like I said, into what actually happened. How far were these titles along? You can see most of them were quite a long way away. Now, obviously, the trailer, as you saw earlier, for Hypertension looked absolutely incredible. It would be so good to have seen these come to fruition. Same with Slave. Both looked absolutely incredible. But unfortunately, I just don't think at this point these are really going to see the light of day, which is a shame, because they were very, very promising. Let me know what you guys think, as always, in the comment section below. Like, comment and subscribe. It's Al signing out.